Welcome back to Calmsden. So, first thing, cliffhanger from the last episode. Did we have enough lime to go around? Yes, we did. We got all 3 fields done, and there's more lime left over. So the lime factory turned out something like 68,000 litres of lime, which would have otherwise cost me 13,500 to buy it. But instead, we got it for free. It was our own stones. Absolutely amazing. Yes, the machine cost 12,500, but we have it now for future years. Really, really, really useful. So, into today's episode. Firstly, it's worth mentioning that you'll see some snow is down. A lot of the white, by the way, is lime as well out in the fields, but some snow is down. It's December. Now, our cows are looked after. The fields are limed, they were prepared for planting, but it's too soon to plant. So, a good thing it is though, because I've spotted an opportunity. So, in the used vehicle sale, there's a massive New Holland for 188,000. Now, I had a bit of a crisis wondering about this because I did wonder, does this belong? Huge horsepower here. Does it belong in Calmsden? And I think it does. I know it's a picturesque little village area, but the fields are huge. I think it is warranted. So, we have got a John Deere for sale that we can sell for 159,000. So, the problem being though that we're 26, even still we'd be 26k short of what it would cost to buy the New Holland. So, where could we make quick money? And another opportunity that came around is Field 17, cultivating Field 17. The reward is 34k, and if we lease the equipment, it's 5k. So that brings us back to in around 29k, which is more than we need to make up the difference. So the plan is, take up this contract, collect the reward, sell the JD, and purchase the New Holland. Again, just putting this into context, by the way, it's a lot of money, but let's have a look at our 3 fields. This field, and this field. They're all big fields. Field 17 is the yellow one down here. It is huge. So you get nothing for nothing in this world. It's going to be a big, big job, but we are leasing. We are going to lease the equipment, and it is quite generously sized. So let's do it. It's going to be quite fun trying to get this size of equipment down the lanes in Calmsden, but we should be okay. So let's flip down here. Okay, here we are. I did not think I'd be driving something like this on Calmsden, on this map. But it's a contract and the equipment is available. As I said, I do wonder about big articulate tractors on Calmsden. Did wonder, do they belong? Particularly the New Holland that we'll purchase. Because it is, as I say, a little picturesque village. Small, tight roads. But there's nothing small about the fields. These fields are huge. They're absolutely enormous. So I think we can justify. We absolutely can justify getting the New Holland on the ground anyway. Whatever about a John Deere like this, I don't think so. I think we'll use this for the contract, and it might be the last we see of a quad track. So it's going to be fun trying to get this down to the field. Now I should mention also what we're going to do in this episode. Let's check the map. I haven't driven to this field before. I haven't been down that end of the map at all, so I need to figure out which way I'm going. Now, what I am going to do on this field, it is a very, very large field, and we've got some large equipment as well. So I'm going to use the GPS. I think it's warranted. I think it's a long, straight, narrow field. I think we'll have to cultivate in very straight lines, and I think it might be a good opportunity to break out the GPS and auto steer. It might be fun for people at home watching this as well, just to figure out how the GPS works. There are lots of options in the menu, but what we'll do is we'll just do the basics. Just cover the basics. Okay, we're in the field, and I've just taken out a little bit of the headland at the top, just to give us plenty turning space when we get up here. So, it's time for auto steer for GPS to be set up. So I've just picked what I think would be a good line down through this field, and I'm going to bring up the menu. So let's have a quick look here. All important, hit the auto width. What that does is it figures out exactly how wide the implement is behind the tractor. It needs to know that in order to figure out how much space to leave between each row. Quite simple. So let's get started. First, very simple, set your A point. Hit Alt and E, and you'll see the little letter A appearing underneath the tractor. So that's your A point. Really, really simple. So what we'll do now is we'll just pull forward a little bit. You don't need to drive the whole length of the field. We just want to draw a line, a straight line, that after that point we'll drive parallel to. So I'm just going to quickly go into the menu here because I don't see the line appearing on the ground. There is an option for it. There it is. Lines were turned off. Let's turn them back on again. So you'll see that dotted line from the point of A. Now there is a minimum distance that you have to drive before you can drop your B point. I think that's plenty. I'm just making sure of it here. So we dropped our A point using Alt and E twice, and we drop our B point with Alt and E once. And now you'll see the blue lines appearing at either side of the machine. So now we've recognized our course. We know exactly the direction we're going to travel on each row. It's just a case of switching it on. So I think we're ready to go. There's very little else to this. I've just hit Alt and X to engage it. Now you'll see the line heading, aiming out from the middle of the tractor turns green. Let's turn off the info panel. Beautiful vista away to the left. So Alt and X locks in the steering. So all you got to do now is get on the power. I usually use the cruise control. Hit 3 and let it do its work. Pretty much all we got to do is turn at the other end. So I've just turned off the whole HUD. So the machine's going to go about its business all the way down to the other end of the field. I did mention I think I mentioned on the way down here, this size of equipment, whether it belongs in Calmsden or not. Now we're not going to buy this John Deere, it is just on lease for the purpose of the contract. But we will be buying the articulated New Holland, the T9. I mean, when you look around this field, it's absolutely justifiable to purchase and bring in that kind of equipment. I mean, if we were to do this field with a 6-meter plough behind, I don't know, a 150 horsepower tractor, how long would it take? Would we still be here in 3 days' time? Answers on a postcard. So when I switched off the HUD entirely, it actually switched off each one of the lines as well, which is probably not ideal if I'm treating this as a tutorial. Okay. Let's turn on again. So you'll see it's still activated. I'm going to hit Control X. And you'll see the green line disappearing. So now we're back in control of the steering. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn around. The GPS is going to automatically recognize what our next row is and where it is. So I'm just going to drop down here. Don't really need to line up because the whole purpose is that it will auto line. So I've just hit Control X. Line goes green and our auto steer is back in action. We're activated again. So I'm just going to turn it off for the sake of demonstrating. Just turned off the auto steer and I've deliberately steered off track. Let's turn it back on again and you'll see the tractor autonomously gets back on track. So I think this is the absolute perfect tool for doing this field because it is quite big and I don't want to be messing around and not cutting it or not plowing in straight lines. So we'll crack on. Okay, so we're nearly done. We have just got this strip and one more strip in the corner behind me. So I must say, auto steer really does make light work of a job like this. I'm not always perfectly straight when I carve out these rows. It's funny, in a big field, if you go even a couple of, what feels like a couple of millimeters, but probably a couple of feet out of line, it just seems like it amplifies itself. You wind up going 3 feet out of line in one row and then 6 feet out of line in the next row, and before you know it, you have a big S shape down along your field, and it's kind of exhausting and inefficient. Whereas the GPS will make sure you don't do that. Simple as that. To be honest, I think the driver takes a lot less out of the driver at the end of the day. So, I'm going to call that a job well done. I did turn off the HUD, so there is a chance that I already got a notification to say that this job is done. Very capable machine. Very capable indeed. So, I think what we'll do is we'll go switch on the HUD, collect, we'll collect and return. We'll return the equipment. Okay, perfect. We're back in the yard and we've got a slightly stronger wallet than we had this morning, which is brilliant. So it's time, at last, the objective of this whole thing. Let's get the JD sold. And let's get into the used vehicle sale. Get this purchased. I'm going to go with the base model. We don't have the cash for anything else. GPS. Ouch, can't afford the GPS. We'll just have to do without it for the moment. I will absolutely add it later. I think it's a necessity for something this big. We have lots of grain to sell, so once we get the grain sold, that'll be one of the first few things I pay for. And here we are. Look at this. It's huge. I did not think I would have a tractor like this on Calmsden so quickly. So long live the used vehicle sale. I think I'm really gonna like this. The first job for this tractor will definitely be the planting. Now, unfortunately, we just missed the ploughing season, but you know what? That's fine. It'll do plenty of ploughing next season. So I think we'll probably wind up doing a lot of planting with this. Maybe if we absolutely must, we'll pick up a contract, but I prefer not to. So keep an eye out for the next couple of episodes. It's going to be fun.